would have liked to have seen what they were doing to Zahn.
Well, that's what you just complained about not wanting to see. That's what we saw in the opening.
I would have liked to have seen that. There were like just some words. I have the exact same complaint about Caitlyn that I just had about Jinx, and I said yes, they should have been in parallel, because as Sable says, okay, Sable, we've talked about the central interrogation of the story. Credit to Sable here, being can a monster be redeemed, and we had Vi create Jinx.
Mm-hmm.
Now we should have also had Vi creates Caitlyn. And when we left off last time, we're like, oh, so she's going to a villain arc. We're like, yeah, well, then let's see that. There were a few passing words that she said, it's been months. There have been, blah, 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 blah. I was like, okay, so we should have actually seen your character order some absolutely horrific things going to war against Zahn. Just like I wanted to see Jinx at full power, I wanted to see Caitlyn as dictator. Like, ordering some horrific things against Zahn.
I mean, they did set that up in episode 3.
Like, they didn't even show it. They didn't even deal with it.
Yeah, you're right. They skipped it, didn't they?
I mean, come on. And that's the duality. Vi would have created 2 monsters. And the central interrogation of the story is, can they be redeemed? Vi created Jinx, the chaotic element in Zahn, and then Vi also created Caitlyn, the despotic dictator of extreme order in Piltover.
Why would it have
been
Vi?
I wanted to see both of those things.
Why would it have been Vi in this case?
Well, if I think Truden Plus said it, Jinx probably created Caitlyn more, because Jinx created the irreparable, fracture.
She's the one that killed her mother.
No, it's because
right.
It's because Caitlyn and Vi went down to the Undercity with 3 objectives, 2 of which apparently were completely forgotten.
She stopped her.
Okay, but one of them was to kill Jinx. And so they went down there, and Caitlyn could have done it. And who is it that prevented ending it all? Vi. She chooses in that moment to go back on what she said. She said, if you have the shot, you take it. Then she stopped it. And then Caitlyn gets very upset about that. And I do want to talk about the gray, because I'm not sure about that. And as a consequence, Jinx should have killed a lot of people. And then Caitlyn should be like, all right, listen, we went down there to kill Jinx. I had the shot. And Vi, you wouldn't let me do this clean. If I had killed her right there, none of this would have happened. But Vi got in the way. As a result, a lot of people in Piltover died. Now I'm going to do this the war way. And you needed to see that.
Well, and episode 3 ended very martial and militant. They had everyone banging their chest and everything. And Caitlyn, I remember she had that white beret, and she was standing around. She was ready to go to war. You're right. They didn't really show that war.
I was so keyed up for the episode of 3, the end of episode 3 in season 2, because the end of season 1, episode 3 is one of the greatest moments of all of television history. When Silco comes up to comfort Jinx, comfort Powder to make her Jinx. Like, that is such a pivotal moment. One of the greatest things ever shot in television. So here we are in season 2, episode 3. You're expecting something with just as much gravitas, and it's Caitlyn becoming a dictator. Does that have as much emotional impact? It does not.
Well,
they
counterpoint.
Brush it away.
Counterpoint. If we see too much of her being a villain, we're going to lose empathy for her as an audience.
Well, I don't know. We forgave Darth Vader to some extent.
Yeah, but if the central interrogation, okay, so can a monster be saved? We need to see a monster. Like, if you're going to be dealing with that issue. So the Titter Pig Rancher says the central interrogation is very hard to determine until the end. Can a monster be saved? It's only season 1. I don't think it applies to season 2. All right. Maybe
I don't know.
I don't know if I agree with that. I'll come back to that.
Act 2 has some healing the monster aspects as well, very strong.
Yeah.
It should have.
So, Titter Pig,
it should have. It's a huge part of what's going on here.
Well, and by the way, we should move to episodes 5 and 6, I think, in a little bit, because
is Caitlyn a monster?
Well, no, she's not a monster, but
they kind of spared her from that. The writers
is Jinx a monster?
Yeah, yes. She fired a missile into the council.
She's a complicated monster. Yes.
Yeah, complicated. That's a good word.
Mm-hmm,
okay, in season 1, that was it. The answer was no.
Mhm.
So is she a monster in season 2?
Well, I think that's changing. I think that's part of what's happening. But I mean, there's a lot that we're seeing in episode. I guess that's in episode 4 with her like interrogation and stuff like that. Like you see her that she's clearly in a different state morally than we saw her before. You know, she clearly doesn't have all the same virtues from before. But we also see in episode, you know, I guess what was it 6, that she's returning. She's you know, going back to her true value. So if we saw like an arc that was that extreme, I think it would be hard to pull it back. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like it would be hard to go to that level. What you're describing.
You can do it. I mean, you can do it.
I mean,
it would
people
depend
love the redemption of Darth Vader, and I mean, you know what I mean.
Yeah, it would depend on how she feels about what she's doing, which would take a few episodes, and that's a character arc. That's what you're supposed to do. But they decided not to. It sounds like they built up to that, and then they just decided to go a different route. It almost feels like a different writer took over at some point here in Act 2. But I do think Keith is right in that they didn't deliver on the way episode 3 ended. They did kind of skip that, and they just kind of had Caitlyn kind of reverting back to a more of a detective role, maybe.
You know, you see her in a detective role, wandering around and she's always kind of skeptical about Mbessa. No, right? Like if she ordered like war against Zahn, you know, then like I wanted to see that, like, you know, because that's when it's time. Like, is that what happened? Then I want to see that. Is it answered? Is that answered?
I think so. I think the answer is going to be yes. So, and I have a lot of thoughts.
What was the answer in season 1? Was the answer in season 1 no?
I don't know if it had an answer. I think what he's saying is the
matter what Bacon says. It was asked in season 1, and okay, it answered. But we have not done yet. So that's why I was saying.
I feel like that's what we're going to do. Let's come back to that topic though. But
okay,
I think that is
Better with Bacon for $5 says season 1 is the inverse. Season 2 is the inverse of season 1. Jinx has become a hero. The family is reunited after being disassembled. The interrogation changes to reflect this. So what's the interrogation?
I don't know what he means by the interrogation.
Well, she's become a symbolic hero. She hasn't really become a hero. She's purposely avoiding this path for some reason. She's sitting this one out for season 2, which is to me bizarre from a writing standpoint. But that's what she's sitting it out. She's learning to be a sister, and while this revolution is going on without her, I would say, though, that she has become a symbolic hero, whether she likes it or not, and that the symbol has kind of had a life of its own, whether she's participating in this revolution or not. I think there's some of that going on.